Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is one of the last ones, one of the last radio dramas for Horde of the Giant Queen, and this was really a tricky one, right? I feel like I need to set this up and explain it a little bit before I even play it. First of all, this is the fastest radio drama I have ever put together. I mean, it was quick and dirty. I can't believe I even pulled it off because it's like 5 minutes long when you piece it together. Usually 5 minutes of material takes me a week, if not longer, to do. This one I did in an hour and a half. Now, why did I do that? Why did I put myself in that situation? Well, it was game night. We were playing in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I think it was 2 hours, and I finished it like an hour and a half. 2 hours toward game time, and I got an idea. And then I ran with it. And then I only did like the first section of this. This will all make sense in the end. But I did the first section of it, and then I realized, oh my God, it's going to work. And then I had to commit. But I really wanted something interesting at the end of this session, and I wanted to capture this moment and capitalize on it. And I felt like it would work and it would make a lot of sense. But okay, so what is it? Well, it's I don't know what to call this. I mean, it's a radio drama. Okay, let me set the stage here. All right, so we're playing the last encounter. All right, and Blagothgus the giant has said, "Hey, you guys take the Red Wizards. Me and my giant buddies, we're going to go take care of Lennithon. We need to do this in tandem, so nobody escapes and nobody knows of our treachery." Right? So the cultists don't know we've turned against them. But I want out of this deal, and you guys can take the humans, and I'll take care of the dragon. That's essentially what happened. Okay, so the humans go tripping. What? They go walking off. There's a word there, I'm forgetting. But they go walking off, and they start to fight the Red Wizards. But the thing is, what's happening with the dragon? What's happening with Blagothgus? Are they winning? Are they not winning? Well, I thought that would be a great opportunity to switch back and forth for the players playing, and then do a quick little radio drama, come back to the players, another quick little radio drama, back to the players. So it's this idea that I took from Star Wars, and Star Wars typically I used to do this when I played Star Wars role-playing game back when second edition came out, like 1990, but you would have in tandem or parallel actions going on. Luke is fighting Vader, but then you switch to all the X-Wings and everything out there fighting the capital ships and the Star Destroyers, right? And then you come back to Princess Leia and Han Solo and Endor, right? So you have these parallel things going on in the story, but this time I brought it into D&D, and I felt like it was a perfect time for it. So what I did was, at around round 3, here's my DM screen, right? Got all my players, all the initiative kind of lined up, boop, 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 going down the line. And when I got to the last one, the end of the round, I played Lennithon Battle 1. And I broke it up in these little tiny mini MP3s, and they were all about a minute or less. So that's how I did it. I'd come to the end of the round, Battle 1. End of the round, Battle 2, and so on and so forth, right? But I didn't start off immediately because I didn't have a lot of material. I started that about around 3. And it was great. I actually wasn't too sure if I could render it correctly, like if Audition would let me take a piece here, render it, a piece here, and render it, because that's how I broke it up in the file. Maybe I'll put a little shot up here. You can see how I broke everything up. So I was a little worried that, first of all, this would be too clunky to do. That's a whole nother thing. But it actually really worked and added a different dynamic. And you know what? It is now going to be a staple of my games going forward. But anyway, so I'm trying to figure out how to play this for you. I think what I'll do is I'll just let it play, pause it for a second, maybe put some text up or something. As you can see, I've given this a lot of thought. And then, let it go through its course. It's about 5.5 minutes long, but you're only hearing the highlights of a battle that's occurring between Blagothgus the giant, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, the giant, Storm Giant, his 2 comrades that are with him, his personal guard, and their fight with Lennithon. Now, the end of the book, this is a very long-winded intro to this radio drama, I apologize. The very end of the book, you're not actually fighting Lennithon. You're fighting some white dragon named Glahazael or something like that, or Glazed Donut, whatever, I don't know, these names I give up. But, you're fighting this white dragon. And I felt like, I want to bring back Lennithon. They saw him in the very first chapter a year ago. Let's bring him back. And you can see him actually return in the radio drama number 17 or 18, the Wyvern Assault. He flies over them, right? And he's going right towards the castle. So it was planned long ago that this was going to happen. Not this radio drama, but Lennithon would be there. So let's go ahead and get into this. Finally, this radio drama, it'll just be, I'll break it up in just a couple seconds in between, and you just know that in between those things, because they may not sound consistent, right? One scene to the next, because so much is happening in between. But you have a scene, and the characters are fighting in between that, and then the scene, and blah blah blah. So I think you get it by now. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. This is, I don't know. I think I'll just call it the battle with Lennithon.
The battle rages as Lennithon ignites the room in hot, scorching rays. The giants tumble and evade as the ice walls melt under the fiery blast. The castle rumbles under the deluge of heat and the thundering movement of Lennithon's massive form.
Giant scum! The flames of Lennithon will cook you like a stuck pig!
Blagothgus emerges from behind a pillar, throwing a metal axe across the room. As the blade hits its target, he runs from his hiding place, just as a tail thrash smashes the iced pillar. Blagothgus pulls out a javelin and ducks behind another frozen prong, nodding to his brothers as they ready themselves for another attack. Lennithon charges at a pillar, smashing it to the ground, just as Blagothgus tumbles to the side, dropping the javelin and pulling out his warhammer.
Deceiver! I'll feed on your bones!
Not today, dragon. I reckon you'll make a fine pair of boots.
Lennithon's jaws snap at empty air as the giant swings and cracks the side of the beast's head. Without stopping, Lennithon swings his tail towards Blagothgus, taking his legs out from under him, and spins on his hindquarters as another giant runs up behind him with a longsword, slashing at the dragon's bristling hide. Sparks ignite like shattered glass as Lennithon cries out. One of the giants falls, crushed by Lennithon's massive jaws, snapping it directly in half. The beast catches movement on its right, spins, opens its mouth to engulf the hiding giant in flames, and Blagothgus runs across the room and slams into the old worm, shattering the walls and shaking the fortress.
Scavenger of the sky! I'll taste your blood next!
Lennithon quickly recovers, but is suddenly assailed by the swinging fist of Blagothgus. Followed up by a savage swing of his warhammer, crippling the beast's leg. The dragon cries out, and with the speed of a cobra, snaps its jaws towards the cloud giant's neck. Blagothgus manages to stop it just in time, grabbing the serpent's long neck as Lennithon's ivory teeth snap with venomous rage. Blagothgus and Lennithon tumble and spin across the floor as pillars are knocked from their foundations, and the old giant clings onto the savage jaws for life, barely able to keep the fangs of death at bay.
I'm dying on royalty tonight. Once you're finished, I'll melt this accursed frozen pit and devour the spirit of your dead whore.
Blagothgus rages at the dragon.
Son of a bitch!
A newfound strength rising from within, just as another giant leaps onto the back of the beast and buries its sword deep into its flesh. At that moment, Blagothgus manages to uppercut the beast with a violent swing. Its head slams into the ceiling, causing a sudden avalanche of stone and ice to rain down upon the combatants. Lennithon shakes its head in fury and limps backwards, swatting the other giant with his tail and clearing a path for escape.
Heathens! Heathens! You dare wound the great Lennithon! You will pay! All of you will suffer!
All right, guys, there you go. That's how I did this. And again, it was fast. I mean, I was so reckless when I was putting this together. Now, how did I do it so fast? And why don't I just do this going forward? One of the things, though, that helped me was that I'm familiar with my music, right? Very, very familiar with my music, so I know what I want to use. I'm also familiar with my soundtracks. Up to this point, using this stuff for a year, I kind of knew exactly what I needed. I knew exactly where to find those sound files as well. Also, I'll put a quick image up. I have this mod list that I've created for my characters that I know, what a character sounds like and what the filters I need to put on. So that was another thing that sped up the process. And I think all those things, just familiarity with those things and knowing exactly what my characters needed, so I didn't have to spend time going, okay, wait, how did I do Blagoffius? Wait, how did I do Lennithon? No, I already had it all planned out. And also, I did a minimalist approach. There's some effects I didn't put in. You didn't quite hear the giants always moving around, or I pulled back on dialogue. I probably would have said a little bit more or had more effects going on, but I had to be minimalist when I approached it. So that was another way that just kind of sped up the process. And sometimes, as always, less is more. So anyway, that's how I think I did it. It's just, and trust me, this is not the way to operate. Don't do that. I mean, if you get an idea and you look at the clock and you got the time to do it, if you think you can squeeze it in, then do it. I mean, because it can be done, right? I'm proving to you it can be done, right? You can do it. It won't be pretty. But when you listen to it, I think if you listen to it, it sounded pretty good. It sounded, I think, on par with my other radio dramas. Probably not as clean. You could use some more effects in there somewhere, but I really like it. It's actually one of my favorites because it was done so fast and was such an experiment, and it turned out that it worked, and it actually added to the atmosphere because people were commenting, like someone at my table when the sword was plunged into Lennithon, and one was like, ooh, somebody was just, I think it was the person who played Althea, was like, ooh, oh. And then when the giant was snapped in half, she was like, oh. Things like that, just commentating at the table. So that added to it. It really was a lot of fun. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you. And the final radio drama coming up. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.